evening, ladies and gentlemen, and those in between. Welcome in this pre-conference session called The Learning Battle. A learning battle, it makes sense. Why? Because Online Educa Berlin is, of course, where all the experts join. And so all of us know what a great learning approach or theory or framework or tool can mean in terms of learning and teaching. So we want to give you the opportunity to take the stage or take a microphone and share your optimal, your best, your ultimate learning approach of the last year or years, the one you really like. And why do we do this? Because we want you to know that if you attend any session at Online Educa, you are ready to use your voice. You are prepared. You can be prepared. You must be prepared. So this is the ideal stage, the ideal session. Yes, and I will pick out volunteers. Of course, some of you say, yes, volunteer, I'm good at volunteering. And others say, oh, I wish I wouldn't come to this session. No worries. I do it very amicably. I ask, where are the volunteers? And I will choose one after the other. Of course, it's a battle. So that means we have 4 steps. First, I ask, who is volunteering? All of you, raise your hands, of course, at that point. I choose one, and I say, yes. Take a mic. As soon as you have the mic, you tell me your name, Igen de Waard, which is my name, of course. Well, your own name, you need to tell your own name, obviously, and the title of your preferred learning approach. And then the clock starts. You will have 3 minutes to describe your preferred learning tool. After that, the audience gets to have their say. We will have 1 question from the audience, questioning the speaker, because you don't want us to listen to a sales pitch. It must be a learning pitch, a teaching pitch, something with passion. After the question, the speaker gets 1 more minute, approximately, but it means be brief, with the answer. As soon as we heard the speaker, the question, the response, we have applause. So let's test applause at the count of 2. 1, 2, applause. So applause works, but of course, that was like polite applause. Now, because this is a learning battle, I want you all to really applaud for yourself, applaud for the best colleagues that you have, applaud for all the work you did in the last year and all the effort it took, and it was successful. So, on the count of 2, I want to give it your all. 1, 2, yes, yes! Yoo-hoo! Yes! Now, we set the stage. We have someone taking notes, name, title. We have someone looking at the applause meter and jotting down how much enthusiasm you got. So after those 5 minutes, it's the next volunteer, and the next, and the next, until we say wrap up, and that will be said by Rebecca in the back. So now, I'm looking at you, all of you. Can you feel it? You get to drive. You want to shout out what you really loved this year. This is your chance. Remember, shine, use your voice from now until the end of the conference. The winner, by the way, gets this fabulous surprise. Now, who will be the first volunteer? Raise your hands. It was a very silent year for learning and teaching. Ah, I see there. Yes, you in the back who waved to your... No, no, no. Take the mic, you wave to your friend. You are an expert. Please provide person who waved with microphone. Please stand. She refuses. She's too scared to take. Stop. There, yes, proud volunteer. It takes a lot of courage, but all of us are courageous.
Here is fine, they say.
Yes.
So this is my time.
This is your time
And
to
when
shine.
the clock starts.
And
oh, I lost my notes, sorry.
yes, here is the timer. You have 3 minutes for your notes, and then a question, and then a response.
Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay. My name is Mika Järvinen. I come from Aalto University. And we are trying to think how energy engineers think. Normally, our teaching is economical optimization of these systems. We think that these systems should be integrated by respecting ecosystems, climate and social boundaries, and making no harm to the environment. We are also, as a part of this, we are making a new textbook for engineering students, and it will be published next year. An integral part of this work is virtual learning materials. And for example, think about going to virtual site visit into a very big wind park. And you should travel to north, 800 kilometers driving, and then on your course you have 100 students, how you are going to do it. And think about going to the nacelle of a single wind turbine. It's 165 meters high, but this trip has no emissions, no time to wait in traveling. And are you afraid of heights? I don't know, someone might be. If you want to try, come to our session tomorrow. So this is a free ad, I think. You can't take me away from here anymore. So 4 o'clock tomorrow. We also want to think how engineers, when we do this renewable engineering project, we want to show how they interact with the environment. And we try to show that these virtual reality tools can create feelings and to make the true transformation possible in our us engineers, our thinking. So this is all from me, I think. Thank you.
But wait, keep it for a moment. Now, you heard the wonderful speech about using a tool to integrate into a course curriculum of students that are engineering students. Who has a question? A question to ask Mika. Yes. So the question was, are you using VR or something different?
Yes, we are using VR technologies. And for example, here we have VR classes that you can test this kind of site visit tomorrow evening, 4 o'clock. Yeah.
And where is it?
B-
By the lounge? Garden lounge.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so welcome.
So now we had the description, the question, the answer. You can see how easy it goes. It goes swiftly. Now we go to the applause. Yes! Thank you very much, Mika. Now you can see it's easy enough to do. Now I'm taking my stance to look into the audience, asking for the next volunteer. Who's the next volunteer? Yes, there, the lady, beautiful lady in purple. Take the stand.
Is it on? Is the microphone on?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, I say, oh, well, the lights. No, I'm on the stage because of my height. Okay, so I'm Deborah Arnold. I've been coming to this conference for over 20 years. I'm so glad to be back. I'm a project manager, I'm a teacher, and I'm a researcher. I just got my PhD this year at Open University of Catalonia in digital education leadership. What I want to share with you is not so much a learning approach, but it is a learning approach. And I think it's something that can help us all, when we're in the sessions, think about what we're listening to. And it's not my approach. All credit goes to Lou Mycroft. I don't know if you know Lou Mycroft's work. She has developed this concept which she calls the practice of values. The practice of values. And it's all about thinking very, very deeply about what our true values are. And then thinking about our practices in education, digital education practices, for example. And then we formulate a statement to imagine what the future might be if we applied those values to our practice. So I'm going to talk you through the exercise that I was so happy to have experienced when Lou did this in an online seminar, and let's see how it goes. So I'm going to start with one of my values, which is trust. And I'm going to take a practice which is very, very common these days, which is online assessment. So this becomes, what might online assessment look like as a practice of trust? Think about it. Does anybody in the audience have a value that you would like to share? Somebody, just say a value. Reliability. Is that a value? Okay, it's a value for, okay, reliability. Let's think of another online education practice. Does anybody have a practice?
Artificial intelligence.
Is that an educational practice? Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a technology. It could be a practice. So what does that become? What might artificial intelligence look like as a practice of reliability? Does that give you goose pimples?
Almost.
Almost,
Of course.
almost. Okay, so you get the idea. Let's just do one more. Have I got time for one more? One more value. Sorry?
Brave.
Bravery. Ah, bravery. I like bravery is a good one. Bravery is a good one. And another practice, another educational practice with or without technology. Team-based learning. Ah, yeah. What might team-based learning look like as a practice of bravery? Ooh, okay. It really does open up possible futures that we might not imagine otherwise. So that's my favorite approach and practice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, stay there. We have a question. So does someone have a question a question that might trigger additional thinking? Yes, anyone? No one? Then I will give you a
Okay,
question.
of course you would.
Does it always work?
It doesn't always work, but it means that we think about why it doesn't work.
Reflect.
That's not a bad answer.
That's,
is it?
yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It makes us think about why it doesn't work. Yeah.
So now, for the moment of truth, applause. Oh, we have another question here.
Are we allowed two questions?
Yes, hi, thank you so much. Can you see me? Other way, other way. Yeah, you can. Hi.
Yes, I see you
Okay,
wave now.
perfect. Hi. So, what was your most important learning that you got from that practice for yourself, or your most important insight, so to speak?
It was getting, I mean, this is also what Lou Mycroft says, is it takes us away from the constraints of accountability. We always, she talks about you've got the KPI line and then, you know, the key performance indicators, and we're always accountable in that sense in what we do. And then the values line. So her argument is all about surfacing the values line. And I think it's that power of taking us into that area where we can imagine things the way we would really like them to be.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
I like that. Okay, ideal, right on the jot of 0000. So, beautiful use of time. Now, please, give us an applause. Yay!
Thank you.
Super, thank you. Now you get a feeling, right? Oh, yes, a volunteer in the audience. Yes, yes, yes. You can see that the energy is rising, that you're thinking, hey, I have something to say. Indeed, you have. So take the stand after this person.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Andy Clegg, and I'm Head of Academic Development at the University of Portsmouth, and it is my first time to Berlin.
Well
Thank you
done.
very much. Okay, this is a shameless plug for a session that I am running tomorrow afternoon. So I have no qualms, because that colleague before set the pace. So tomorrow afternoon, we are doing a session called Enable. And Enable is the new learning design framework that we have developed at the University of Portsmouth. So tomorrow afternoon, we are sharing our approach. So let me tell you about Enable, or why have we developed Enable? Well, the legacy of COVID. What happened as a result of COVID? What did you all do as a result of lockdown? What are you doing differently as a result of that? And I think what we realized out of COVID was that learning design and a team-based approach to learning design is absolutely critical as a legacy coming out of the pandemic, and how colleagues work effectively together to do that. So are you all familiar with Advance HE? If you're in the UK, and the CATE Awards, Collaborative Award for Teaching Excellence, we won one this year based off the work that we'd done during COVID. So our enabler response is designed to wage war on what we call delivery. Come on. Yep. How many of you deliver higher education? How many of you would regard yourselves as Amazon or Deliveroo because you spend too much time delivering content rather than engaging students in innovative, creative, engaging activities that deepens their critical thinking autonomy and their own approach to learning and teaching? And that is what Enable is all about. We're not Teacheroo. Okay, we are about getting colleagues to think about the principles of active blended learning. Active blended learning, it's active, it's experiential. They are learning by doing. It's based around scaffolded approach to learning and teaching. One activity leads to the next, and in that we get staff to think about what does effective scaffolding look like. Solid foundation, clear approaches to get them from one layer to the next, and different types of scaffolding. In fact, if you come and do my scaffolding section, I start that by introducing you to all the terms a scaffolder would actually use when they put scaffolding up around the house. And it is amazing how many of those you can actually relate to higher education. We also then think about the importance of context over content. What do you want to do with the activities? What do you want to do with the topic? How do you develop innovative activities to actually go with that. And we've created a raft of workshop resources to do that. So if you're sitting there with your mobile phones, may I invite you to just go to enable.port.ac.uk. You can tell I'm a marketeer. I ran a rest station, so let me just repeat that, enable.port.ac.uk. All our toolkit resources are available online.
But wait, your time is up.
Is it up? Well,
Yes.
1 minute, right.
And
Questions?
I dare you, as educators, to question this marketeer. Please. Yes.
Because we are now beginning a long-term impact process. We have developed, if you go to our Enable website, that's enable.port.ac.uk, just in case you didn't get it the first time, we have an interactive dashboard. And our Enable process works by having learning designers in each faculty. They go out and work with course teams. Every time they do an Enable, it's tracked, so we can have a live dashboard to show them. And we are now doing the research to see at a local level. Remember, this isn't about outcomes and NSS related. This is about impact on transformative approaches, the way that we think about learning design as an individual and a team. And our initial foray into qualitative analysis is we're getting individuals saying it's influencing the way I'm teaching and the way I'm developing my approach, but more importantly, we're getting teams and we're getting our deans saying the way that staff see themselves as academics working as a team is also changing. We've only been doing it for about 2 years. It's an incremental approach, but we are beginning to shift the culture of how colleagues start thinking about learning and teaching. And more case studies on enable.port.ac.uk.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the moment of truth, the applause meter. Yes.
No, that's disappointing.
Thank you. Please. Now, surely, yes, please take the stage. Come on.
I'm really a bit nervous.
I'm two. It doesn't show, but I'm two, so.
Okay, I
just-
try my best. The microphone is working? Yeah? So I'm really happy because I could develop with an agency together a fantastic new approach, which is so new because it works with your unconsciousness. So I'm Stephanie Voss, and I'm an organizational developer and an educator. And I work for pharmaceutical industry. And you know, pharmaceutical industry often pushes news to the physician and speak to them and say them what they have to do. And what I develop is to listen to the people, to really have a deep dive into what the physician wants to have and what they really would like to see with the product and get their own solution by thinking. Because what we don't have in our time, because we are looking at our mobile phone, we are discussing with a lot of people in parallel, we are looking at the screen and texting in parallel, we have no time to think. And this we want to give to the physician. And I developed a blended learning approach where we start with e-learning modules, then we have a reflection question in a gamification way of interacting, and then we role play it. And the success is really amazing because we have open doors suddenly, and the people want to discuss about the drug and really speaks up and call us to have any more ideas. And how we work with this, we lower the stress level about the polyvagal theory. So there are a lot of things in there, like intrinsic motivation and something like this. So this is what we created to work more with the unconsciousness.
Wow, brilliant. Thank you. Great, yeah. So, questions from the audience on the unconscious use for learning, or the learning from the unconscious? Anyone? Well, I see. So, yes. It's good that you shout out. Please stay here. Please. Oh, yeah.
I want
Please stay here. Yeah.
to see the person.
Okay. But then move past the speaker if you like. That's the speaker. And otherwise, there's an
Yeah,
interference.
I only want to see the person because it's so bright here.
Okay. My question was, can you tell us a little bit more about like the unconscious aspect? Can you explain that?
So, for example, you know the Pygmalion effect, right? You see only this in the person you want to see. And the unconsciousness only makes you aware of what you want to see and figure out. So there's so much things in the room, but you see only this thing, what you want to focus at. And you want, the unconsciousness want to give you the truth of what you are thinking. So it works with the consciousness. The unconsciousness only wants to help the consciousness to be always right. And there are a lot of studies about this. So it's really amazing and very interesting.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Nice.
You're welcome.
For being nervous, you did a fabulous job. So, yeah, you did great, really. So, let's applaud. Yay! Woo! Woo! Yeah, wonderful.
I'm really astonished of the applause. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done, well done. Please? Yes, the next volunteer. Who? Yes, please. Come over. Take a stand. You can see it's really easy. And I hope that you learned something already
Not
because
easy. I can't
did.
see anything.
That's to make you feel more at ease.
Okay, my name is Mireille Al-Farah, and I'm a postdoc at University of Bergen. I'm also educational developer / researcher. I'm going to talk about something that is low-tech, but it was very helpful for many people. In my project, I work in the pharmacy center in we have a project called Frame Farm that you can also Google and check the website. But it's a research project where we want the students to be better in communication, better in ethics and empathy, and have more human-centered pharmacy in Norway. My role is to help and support teachers to design, implement, and evaluate active teaching methods where we can get these learning outcomes and get those results at the end. But then, one day, there was a teacher came to me, and she was crying because the lab course went so bad, because the students were so stressed, and they are in fourth-year students. They were so stressed, they were crying, they didn't manage to use all the knowledge that they have. They have all the theory behind it, but they didn't manage, they were not able to have independent thinking. So I thought, okay, we're going to flip it. So because usually when you go to a lab course, they would give you the recipe so you can do the mixture by yourself. So what we did this year was that we gave them, before we set them in groups, and we told them you have to do this mixture. Go through the literature and try to do your own recipe, and then you can see, then the teacher will give you a feedback before even starting with your lab course, so they can know what to expect, because the problem was they didn't know what to expect, so there were a lot of stress around it. But in order to reflect on that, usually in Norway, I don't know, and so they always ask the students to write reflective essay, and the quality of this is very long, and they're very packed. They have very packed programs. So if you would ask them also, in addition to the lab course, to do lab course is every day 8 hours. So if you, in addition to that, you would ask them to do a reflective essay, then you won't be doing them any favor. So what we thought about is, instead of writing it, why don't you just take your phone and do pre-course reflective note, 2 minutes. During the course, in 1 week, one reflective note, although thinking about all the process that you went through, and post-course, also reflective note. We did it this way when we arrived to the lab course, so when I did observation also in the lab. All the students were very calm. they were able to go and proceed because they discussed this beforehand with their peers, and if they had problems, so then they asked their peers or the teacher. But also, when we listened to the reflective note, it was amazing how they had self-assessment and how they really reflected throughout the activity. But also, when they failed doing something, they didn't went into like hysterical situation like last year or the year before, but they were like, okay, I'm going to do it again, and then they reflected again on that. So then I had very happy teachers and very happy students, and also I got data for my future paper.
Super.
Do you have any question? Just one information, I use a model called collaborative scholarship on how educational researcher can support teachers in their teaching. So they can use their teaching as a research also and disseminate.
Ooh, super. Okay.
Questions? No?
No questions?
Applause.
Applause. Applause, people. Yay! Well done. Thank you. Please. Nick, oh, voila. Yes, wonderful. Please, come and join me on stage. Now, how thrilling. Do remember, this is a moment where you can just come on stage and take a stand. So use it after this wonderful speaker, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Ajit, thanks for the opportunity. My name is Ajit and I'm an imposter. I know nothing about education and I'm just here trying not to be noticed. I'm also not going to use this opportunity to shamelessly market the company that I come from, which is Odin Education. That's odineducation.co.za. And also not to talk about this talk that I'm giving tomorrow that I hope all of you attend, because that would be really poor use of this time. Okay, so what I want to talk about is a concept that we believe in very strongly, and it's the fact that nobody knows what the future is going to look like. And we really see that a lot, because if you look at all the futurists and you look at their sort of path over the last few years, they've changed their mind every year around what's going to happen in 10 years' time. And the truth is, if you listen to them to say, what should I study now that I can learn about so I can secure my job in 10 years from now, they're going to change their mind next year. And so what we believe in is that nobody knows. So in a situation like that, how can you educate our children for the future? Because if you're going to educate them, you have to decide what you want to teach them. And if you want to decide what you want to teach them, you have to think you know what they need to learn, correct? And so our approach, we call it letting go of the future, is to forget about what you want to teach them, but to use technology to understand the child. We call it Discover the Child, and really to figure out what are the strengths, capabilities, and talents of every child, and use this moment to try and strengthen those capabilities. And if we do that with enough children, with enough diverse kids out there, then hopefully whatever the future comes, we'll have people that are in their strengths to deal with it. This is the idea. And, you know, if you want to hear about it more, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So, question? Yes?
Yeah, great question.
So, wait, we will repeat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
So-
she's saying,
Yeah, two.
yeah, so she's saying basically, how do you prevent locking kids into what they think they like now, and, you know, just focus and pigeonholing them in there. Who here wanted to be an astronaut when they were a kid, or a fireman? My son wanted to be a truck driver and a window cleaner, you know. The truth is, what you want to do changes over time. And so we recognize that. So that's why I said for the moment. So what we do is we we streamline you to what you're interested in the moment, but every now and then we provide outliers, and we continually test that assumption, is this currently something of interest for the child? And we ensure that the child gets both exposure to diverse interests, and yet they determine not through choice, by the way, through what we observe of their interest behaviors from data in the background, to focus what we're teaching them today. And again, the aim is to strengthen capabilities that they have. So when you get pigeonholed, in the current system, you either becoming a lawyer, and that might only take a certain subsection of your interest sort of portfolio, versus maybe we'll teach you a little bit about being what it takes to be a lawyer, but you're also an artist, you're also an engineer, you're also different areas. And we constantly scan that, then try and find the resources that augment your interests as they develop. So it's very much around now, because we don't know what the future looks like.
Great. Thank you. So, applause! Yay! Well done.
Where's the mic?
Thank you. Oh, please. Now, surely, and madam, please take the floor. And then I saw you. You became the next volunteer by our colleagues. It had to happen. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Katrina Kennedy, and I am from the United States, so I had to get into the battle.
Of course. Come on.
I waited a little while, though.
Well done.
I want to offer something that will work no matter what your method is, whether it's the virtual reality at a height, whether it is the unconscious, whether it is looking at the student, whatever it is. But you have to do this with me. I want you to put your 2 feet flat on the floor. Did you notice what happened? You had to sit up. And when you sat up, you had to breathe. And now I want you to do something very uncomfortable, very American, very touchy-feely.
Hugging you?
Oh, not yet. I do have boundaries. I want you to close your eyes if you're comfortable. And I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to think of everything that is pulling you away from this moment. Closing your eyes may be one of those. Okay, you can open your eyes. There was a lot, right? There always is. No matter what the learning methodology we're using, we have to acknowledge that people show up pulled, figuring out how they're going to pay their rent, their mortgage, by food. If we don't acknowledge those distractions, those things, those headlines blaring, if we don't acknowledge that, no learning can occur. But if we take a moment and ask people to stop and think and just say, you know what, I get it. I don't have the same experience as you, but we've paused to just say, I know you are giving up something by being here, whether it's synchronous, asynchronous, whatever it might be. Time is precious. I thank you for taking it so that you can learn. And we can say that in whatever words the culture of the people around us need. They don't have to be mine. In fact, my words are probably the least impactful. If you turn to each other right now, you don't have to because it's way too touchy. If you turn to each other right now and said, this is what's in the way of me learning this week, that's probably enough just to say it. Because things that aren't said are amplified. I think we can think of a million examples of amplification, whether it's our personal amplification, not talking about the things that have happened to us, or the things that happen in our organizations, or in the geographic area we happen to find ourselves. So, feet flat on the ground. I said fat on the ground, that's very American.
That's okay. We understand.
So feet flat on the ground, that deep breath and acknowledgement, that's what will win the battle.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Question? Yes? Yes?
Can you explain Thanksgiving?
And
I will, in 1 minute, explain Thanksgiving. And I will explain it from my 17-year-old son's perspective. He's currently in an apartment about 20 minutes away, and he said, "Mom, let's celebrate Thanksgiving in the best way. Tomorrow, we're going to have Vietnamese food." And he will tell me, I'm going to be blunt, that Thanksgiving, as the Americans have celebrated it from the beginning, is a lie. And he won't be wrong. We celebrate a Thanksgiving of gratitude, a Thanksgiving of appreciating the people around us. Because the American history of Thanksgiving, that the Native Americans, we got together and the Pilgrims did such a great thing for them, we all know is a lie.
okay. No opinion there. But let's applaud for. Hello. Thank you. And now, of course, yes, this was elected by his colleagues. You.
By my manager, so I didn't have anything to
Yes,
say
no
about it.
choice.
That's my manager right over there. Wow, it's like an investigation here with
Yes.
the light.
Just confess immediately.
Yeah, I confess. Right. So, my name is Eran, and I teach e-learning. I teach instructional design at the Faculty of Instructional Technologies, HIT, Israel. There's quite a lot of us in the room. There are somewhere here under the lights, members of the faculty. And I've been coming here to this conference for about 9 years, I think. And right over there, I met once my learning hero, Jay Cross, right over there. I met him for the first time, and we had a conversation. And Jay Cross said that the best learning technology is conversation itself. So I want to speak about that. I take in my courses conversation and curiosity, and I put them together. And I tell my students, the students need to create, in one of the courses, learning items, digital learning items. So instead of teaching them, Captivate, iSpring, Storyline, and so on, we tell them, go learn about the tool that you want to learn, become an expert in this tool, create a digital learning item, and then teach the class, become an expert and teach the class the tool, and you get a score about the level of your teaching, or the level of the workshop that you are creating. Go teach us, go learn, apply curiosity, then apply conversation, and we get wonderful result about it. Right now, we're speaking about AI creating learning. Some of the exhibitions right over there, that's the next big thing. AI create text, AI create everything, but the beginning of the process, the curiosity and the innovation, it's always going to be us. So I think that's the best way to approach it right now. Go back to the basics: conversation, curiosity, innovation. Everything else is probably going to be AI. Thank you.
Thank you. So, being true to the conversation, who has a question? But can I just say, the people in the back, they are feeling so comfortable. I can see you.
Right
There,
over
a
there.
question. Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting, but I have a small question. What about ethics when we talk about AI?
What about, sorry? About-
Ethics. Ethics.
Wow, that's. I really hope that we're going to have some achievement in this field, because it's all open right now, and we don't have any standards, and we don't have anything to guide us in, and that's a real challenge. But I hope that the people that are creating AI, we are the end users, at least how we see it. We don't create the tools, but we enjoy them, and it's like a jungle right now that we're trying to create the rules to go upon, and I really hope we're going to have the right common sense to keep AI in the place of a tool, a great tool, amazing tool, but as a tool and nothing else, nothing more.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Applause. Yay!
Thank you. And now my manager.
Good. I will just look at Rebecca. I see. Can you do the lady in the third row first, and then I come to the second row? Is that okay?
Hello.
Hello.
I cannot not stand up here, can I?
It's good to shine.
And
It's
I'll
good
give you
to
I'll
talk.
give you a hug too.
Oh, well.
Now. All right. All right. Hi, I'm Anna Sophia. I work for the Danish Defense, and the favorite learning approach that I like to share with you today is reflective practice learning. It was difficult to choose. I have a lot of favorites. So let me start off by giving an example. I work with educators in the defense, and some of the work that I do is blended learning. Of course, it's didactical, it's pedagogical courses. Some of it is blended. And what I struggle with a lot is actually getting them to not practice, but to read what I kindly ask them to read, and to prepare what I kindly ask them to prepare. So one of the things that I like to do to start off with is to get the idea of us all being in the same boat. We're all educators, which means we succeed, but we fail too, miserably. All educators know what it is to go and you have your expectations, you go, they're gonna love it, it's gonna be great, and they hate it, right? And as I said, I tried to calm them down a lot. I said, I got a master's degree in didactics, and I fail miserably all the time, but that doesn't really seem to calm them down as much. They more start to wonder what they're doing here, but that's a different story that I'm not gonna go into because of time and my self-esteem. But what I try to do then is to encourage them to share stories. We are all in the same boat. We all share the same practice. Let's reflect on that. So what I tell them to do, or ask them kindly to do, is share stories. Share stories about when did you succeed as an educator? What happened? And also, when did it turn out much differently than expected or hoped so? And we do this not synchronous, but asynchronous, and then they use the chat forum to share those stories in videos and then to reflect on it together. So when they meet up at the first beginning, then they have a shared sense of, okay, you know, we know what's going on, but they also use this as case studies. They do reflective practice learning, which means that you don't take the theories and the methods, but you take what happens and then be curious. So the conversation we had in the beginning is all about the dialogue and what happened. What did you expect? What were your hopes? What were you trying to get out of the lesson? And why do you think it failed? Or why do you think that the students didn't like it? Why do you think that learning goals weren't achieved? And this is the sense of reflective practice learning. You use your colleagues to reflect on the things that didn't happen as you hoped or expected. And after that, apply the theory, apply the method, and apply the theory and the methods that we love so much. But the whole trick, and it's very easy, is just to take what happens, wonder, and reflect with your colleagues. So that is my favorite approach to learning.
Okay, thank you. Please wait. Questions from the audience? One question from the audience. It is connecting, isn't it? I mean, it's about reflections and conversations, and so.
Don't leave me hanging.
Yes?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. I think we can see how important it is. How do you actually manage to get people to accept to share failure? Because it's something that's really, really hard to do. And I think you almost have to have a certain level of confidence to be able to accept failure. So how do you accompany people on that journey to get them to the point where they're comfortable with that?
So yeah, thank you for your question, excellent question. So point number one is facilitating that dialogue. Nobody wants to fail publicly if they're going to be met with, oh, what you should have done was. I got you, what you should have done was. No, but be curious, ask the questions, ask the open questions, and in the chat forum I actually ask them kindly to ask open questions. So they're already in the habit of, this is how we approach it. We are curious. So what were your hopes? Why do you think it failed? And what should your next steps be? So saying, for instance, you are Spielberg and you can just take the scene again. What would you do? So I think that's one way. Thank you.
Oh, super. So, applause. Yay! Who said boo there? Well done. Thank you. Yes. Now I'm expecting a great deal from you because you are eager, I can tell.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So, it's quite a nice view. My name is Răzvan Bologa. I'm from Bucharest, actually from Romania, and I'm a professor there, and I'm also running my own startup. So I'm going to tell you a story about artificial intelligence, robotics, and digital divide. Usually when I say Romania, people think about Dracula, about vampires, blood-drinking vampires. Some people even came to Bucharest and they got to eat some sort of grilled bear meat in a restaurant. So why am I speaking now about artificial intelligence and about robotics? Because of the digital divide. There are many countries in the world where there is a huge digital divide between urban and rural areas. For instance, in Romania, we have such a situation. There are pretty good schools in the urban areas. However, there are not so good schools in the rural ones. There is a program there called Romania Tech Nation. As many of you may know, Romania is making about 10% of GDP out of technology. It has oil, it has gas, and other things. But technology is quite important in that country. So we invest quite a lot. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to get to the rural side. Okay, it works in the urban areas, it works in the rich communities. But how are we going to teach kids in the rural areas about robotics, about the jobs of the future? Somebody here said that we don't know how the jobs of the future will look like. That's true. But I can tell you one thing. They will be based on robotics. They will be based on artificial intelligence. There is going to be a lot of technology in these jobs. So these kids need to be exposed to the new technologies in order to provide the employability to them in the future. But the problem is that when you go to a rural countryside, there are not many teachers that are capable to deliver STEM lessons. So how did we solve this? We created a virtual learning assistant, an artificial intelligence instrument that can support normal teachers to deliver complex lessons in robotics, in cybersecurity, and in other subjects. When I say virtual learning assistant, about 50% of the teachers will immediately say, this guy is going to replace us with a robot. We don't like him. We don't want him around here. That's not true. We are not going to replace teachers at all. What we are going to replace are the manuals, the paper-printed manuals. So I don't think there is a future for the paper-printed manuals. However, I think there is a great future for teachers. Of course, roles will change and things will work differently. Now let me tell you a story of Andrei. Andrei is a kid, 11 years old, from a small rural countryside in southern Romania. He's close to an area where they produce many cars. There is a huge installation there, a huge plant that is producing cars. And the managers of that plant have provided a sponsorship, and they provided the funding in order to empower Andrei schools to have access to this artificial intelligence technology. And everybody was surprised when this kid from a rural countryside engaged in a robotics competition at a national level, and he actually won against children coming from rich private schools, children coming from very advanced urban communities. So it is possible with artificial intelligence to bridge the digital divide. If you want to know more about this story, there is a magazine in the US called Rural Broadband. So you can Google nextlab.tech, which is the name of the platform, by the way, and you will find the story. So if you Google Rural Broadband, nextlab.tech, you will find the whole story. And there is hope out there because the Ministry of Education in Romania is actually delivering these technologies in 5,400 schools right now. It's the largest installation of adaptive learning technologies at a national level, at least in Eastern Europe. So I think this is very important, and I wanted to share this story with you tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wait, please wait for a moment.
Okay, but...
Question?
Yes.
Yes?
Modern prosperity is based on the idea that we do things more efficiently, often requiring that certain jobs be automated and certain roles disappear. If it was possible to replace teachers with artificial intelligence, why would we not do that?
Learning is a social act. So you have to empower teachers, not to replace them. Actually, in my opinion, there will be more teachers around as we introduce artificial intelligence. I don't think we have the option of not introducing artificial intelligence. That's for many reasons. I'm not going to discuss this now, but I think that the more technology we introduce in schools, the more teachers we need.
Okay, thank you. Applause. Yes. Yay! Now I got the cue from Rebecca, so think about this. This is going to be the last speaker on stage. I know there was one person telling me, promising me, that he would lean out of the chairs. I still haven't seen him lean out, but okay. So I'm asking for the last volunteer of this evening, after which we will reveal the mystery prize. Who's the last volunteer? Yes, please come to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Brian Mulligan, and I've been in higher education for 38 years. I was going to say, can you give me a wave if you're involved in higher education? Okay. You're going to love this. I'd like to paraphrase a joke by Homer Simpson where he said, well, this is the paraphrase, problem with higher education is there's too much higher education. After 38 years, I believe we've just far too much of it. I would say, midway through my career, I moved into distance education, where I was educating people in the workforce, and found out that they were much keener learners, much more interested. and learned more effectively, even with pretty crude teaching techniques, because the motivation was there. And it was my conclusion that motivation and situation have a far bigger impact than any improvement in teaching techniques. That's the one thing that does it. Now, this touches on a few things that people brought up, you know, authentic learning in projects, flexibility because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So it strikes me that the whole approach to the degree, which seems to be at the core of higher education, is just the wrong approach for the future. Okay, we need a system where people from the start are lifelong learners. So we must teach them to learn, for starters. And then, when I look at things like project-based learning, which I'm a fan of, by the way, on campus, I think it's a poor substitute for being in the workplace, where you've real projects, you've real challenges. And that's where the education really is effective and should take place. Now, this system already exists, and it's called the apprenticeship system. And for certain areas of learning, we've considered that it's not workable. But with learning technologies, we can actually really supercharge that type of education. Move people so when kids finish secondary school, there's no reason why they can't go into the workplace and work and learn. And also, change direction. Just take it bit by bit. Learn as they need it, and even change as they go along. So I would say that, I mean, I've said this before, campus education should probably be just reserved for the elite, for the eggheads, for the ones that see themselves as breaking new frontiers in knowledge. For the rest of us, we should be learning on the job. That's work-based learning. Now, just to finish off, people say, but what about that wonderful learning experience, that wonderful life experience of campus? Well, this is a conceit that those of us who went through higher education have. I said to my brother, he didn't go to university, and I'm sure you know, I said to him, you're not as well developed socially as me because I went to university. Yeah, you're just imagining what he said back to me, aren't you? So let's get rid of this idea that university is a requirement of our social development. It's just not. And we can be more effective, we can bring down the costs if we move to work-based education, and probably get rid of the idea of a degree altogether, that it's just more granular, self-directed, and moves on. I have to say, and I'll just add this, like I trained as a civil engineer. I worked as a civil engineer for 5 years.
You can
then
tell
I started
he's
teaching.
from Ireland. The story has started, but it never ends.
Anyway, they gave me a job that I wasn't qualified to do, and I had to figure out how to do it. I had to learn on the job. And that goes right from teaching in the 80s into teaching technology in the 90s and distance learning. You learn better on the job. Okay, have I convinced you all about work-based learning?
Who has a question? Dare someone ask a question to this beautiful, handsome Irish man? No question? Then we go immediately to the applause. Yay! Thank you, thank you. So now the judges are going to confer and look at the applause meter and see who won. But I want to share one last thing. So this evening, as you go to sleep in your hotel room, you lie in your bed, there are two options. One option is, I did really great. Today I got really big round of applause. I'm so proud of myself, which is wonderful. The other one is, why didn't I stand up? I have something to say. I could do this. I listened to conversation being learning and AI being learning and learning tools and even grounding feet. I mean, I could have said that. even telling a story. I could do this. Grab that opportunity in the next 2 days as you are here participating in sessions at Online Educa Berlin. Do this. It'll be fun. Now for the grand reveal, Don, please come to the stage.
I want to just echo what Inga says. I think it's great to see a room where nobody puts their hand up, then one person does, and then suddenly it's a deluge of people all taking the opportunity to get on the stage. And yeah, if you didn't do it, well, we've got 2 days opportunity to do it, so please go ahead and do it. Should we do the big reveal?
Of course.
But hang on, what do people get? What's underneath the magnificent silken thing you have there?
I will first watch myself. It is brilliant. It is wonderful. It is.
Oh.
Yes.
It is the celebrated Learning Challenge trophy. All right. Shall we reveal?
Yes, please.
All right. In number 3, Anna Sophia with a reflective practice learning. Let's have a quick round for Anna Sophia.
Yay!
In number 2, just finished her doctorate, Deborah with her practice of values.
Yay!
And in number 1, discovering the inner child. It was Arif. Is he here? Ajit, sorry, I misread that. Sorry, Ajit.
Ajit.
Oh, now hang on. What's the rule?
The rule is...
I think you have to be present to claim.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the rule. Otherwise, it would be too...
Exactly.
Strange.
Is Deborah here? Oh, what a magnificent idea. Come on,
Please come here
Yes.
on stage.
Anna Sophia.
Anna Sophia.
Yeah.
Anna Sophia.
I think it's a lovely idea. Come on, there we go. Take one handle each, go on.
One handle each.
There we are. There we are. And that's the best learning approach, collaboration.
Yeah, wonderful.
Fantastic. All right. And we finished just on time. Inga, over to you to wrap up.
So now we're going to, you can, if it's ideal, especially if you take a plane back home. I want to see the movie and at customs. So thank you very much for attending this session, for being enthusiastic, for taking the stage, asking questions, listening, absorbing, and I hope to see you in the next couple of days. Please, if you want to say hi to any of us, please do. Thank you very much. Yay for